Alright, welcome back to Nerd Abiding. I am the Old Worm. We are here in Satisfactory. New series. This is a factory automation construction simulation game sci-fi dealy-bob. So, last time we set up the most basic element of our factory. That is the thing that's getting all the stuff from the ground. In this case, iron from the ground. It's already full up. So we need to start doing something with that iron. If you go into your menu here, you see you can look at all these basic things you need. We're going to need iron. You see very common iron plates, iron rods. Those being the that very first tier of things you can make. Actually, it's sort of the first tier of the first tier. So, we're going to want to make some of that. I think we've got enough to start. Actually, we don't have enough. I think we have enough for a miner. Or not a miner. We already have I think we have enough for. Yeah, we have enough for a smelter. So we need a smelter. This is going to turn your iron ore into iron ingots. Again, like I said last time, you can redo all of this with no resource lost. So you can give yourself some room, but honestly, feel free to do it and then reorganize many times later. So this, okay, so this has two parts, obviously an in and an out. We're going to be connecting those with, what can I think of the word? You know, the things and the stuff and the, conveyor belt! Oh, no idea. I have no idea. Anyway, go back to what we were doing. Production smelter. So I'm just going to hold and place this. We're probably not going to have too many of these right away, but I do want to have room. We can't do too much of the splitting and such. So, we've only got the one miner, so we don't have a lot of... We don't need a lot of room at the moment. So I'm going to just go ahead and put it here. Almighty. Okay. Oh, that is way too close. But it'll serve, should serve as being illustrative. That'll need to be powered too. But first, in order to get the ore from here to here, we need conveyor belts. Let's see. Your Mark 1 conveyor belt is what you start with. We're going to go ahead and select that, and it will snap it. Those, just a lot of iron plates. Snapping it like the power poles, unless you need a very specific placement. Don't worry about placing power poles. They'll place automatically with the conveyor belts. And this will go over, and it's, oh, we got it right. So if we, for example... Say I had... Wow, this is being very, very... well, that didn't work at all as demonstration. So we're going to stick that in there on the end. Boom. Builds it nicely. And it starts moving stuff into the machine. The machine we haven't powered up yet, but the conveyor belt has its own internal power or whatever. It'll get to this machine and stop because we haven't told this machine what to do. Let's power it up so that when we do tell it what to do, we can. Now, we'll go back here. Since we're starting to get more machines, I'm actually going to place a pole so as to give ourselves a good node to attach off. And we're going to... we made a mistake last time. I didn't think about this. So, we're going to go through here. I need to delete this wire. Deleted. Now, we're going to place power again. Now, Lord Almighty. Okay, so, as I said, only one thing can be plugged into a given machine at one time. In order to get multiple items powered, they have to go to a power pole. So I didn't even think about that. Alright. Place 2. We're just going to go ahead. I'm actually going to place even another one here because we're going to start getting more and we're going to need to build off of it. Build. Don't skimp on the power poles. Alright, so this bad boy is powered up and we need to tell it what to do. These are the recipe. You got 2 tabs, your recipe and your production. We can produce iron ingots or copper ingots. Well, we can't produce copper ingots because we don't have any copper. So, iron ingots it is. And it's just going to go ahead and build those. It builds them, I don't know, about the same, maybe a little faster than you do over at the craft bench, but you don't have to sit there and hold the button down. Oops. Alright, so one of the things, so we've got special, this is your hubs, your production. This is going to have anything used to produce stuff. Power, we're going to get to that very soon. Logistics, this is where you're going to find your conveyor belts, your pipes, your anything that moves stuff from one place to another or helps in that process. And then organization. And these are going to be, well, things to help you organize. I'm going to build a storage container. Might be a little unnecessary at the moment, but I think it's good practice. So these will store, right now, this thing will only, the smelter will only hold 1 stack of ingots, which I believe is, it's either 50 or 100. I believe it's 50, but regardless, it will only hold 1 stack. If we don't want to be going and emptying it all the time, we need to, hey there, we need to build something to put it in automatically. So we're going to do that. And just place it right there. Alright, then we're going to go in and logistics, conveyor belt, boom, to boom. Alright, so, and you don't need to power the storage, so it will automatically put everything in there. These can hold fairly good amount of stuff. Eventually you get larger storage containers, but honestly, I find myself using these an awful lot. Keep in mind, when your factory gets very complicated and you need to move around it, that all of these ladders work. The ladder on the that works. I don't know, the smelter. All of these work. So don't neglect to use them. I know, silly point, but it's there nonetheless. So we got those going. Now we could have just taken this as it is and gone right into a manufacturer. And actually we may end up doing that, but for now, because I'm going to be away from home fairly often, I'm going to build my constructor off of this. In most cases, there's no point in it, because once you get past the very beginning of the game, you don't need to store ingots. You're going to be using them as fast as you can produce them. But in this case, I'm going to. Again, you can always delete it later. No mistakes. Alright, so we're going to place that there. Why don't I place it right up to there? I don't think you can. Also, this gives you space to build off of later. So now we got a constructor. And we'll put a... And we'll put the conveyor belt. Snap that in. This also needs power. Now let's look at our power consumption. You can check your power consumption by looking at any power pole. Okay. I can produce 20 megawatts an hour. I'm consuming, well, it says 0.1. It said 4 a minute ago. Like I said, there could be spikes. Oh, that's because I forgot to repower this. Okay. That's why. And there we go. Alright. Crisis averted. And then we need to power the constructor as well. And these poles can only have 4 wires attached to them. So, my best advice is, when you get to the point where you're filling that last spot, if it's not going to another pole that has open spots, build another pole that has open spots and attach to that. It'll save you a lot of hassle later. And attach to there. Alright. Now we need to tell the constructor what to do. This is our standard parts. These are all made with, well, these two are your most basic parts. Iron, they're both made with iron ingots. You can either make iron plates or iron rods. And then you can make screws, which I'll need fairly quickly. And then in order to make screws, you use iron rods. So you need to make the iron rods first and then make those into screws. Right now, let me see. Let's look at what we've got. Oops. Ah. Alright. So we've got a bunch of ingots. I made those at night. Concrete. And we got some plates and some rods. Let's think about what we're going to be doing next in order to plan this. Okay. I think the next thing we're going to need to get is a copper mine going. And that's... And for that, we're going to be using a lot of conveyor belts, and conveyor belts are going to use a lot of metal plates. So, we're going to do metal plates. Iron plates, and it will start doing that. Again, it can only hold 1 stack. I believe that's 100 of that. So it'll take a little while to fill. I'm not going to... In all honesty, I probably shouldn't have built this here. I should have built it over there. Oh heck, I'll build another one. Again, always delete them later. Storage. Place that. And logistics, boom, right into there. Let's talk a little bit about wildlife. There's 2 kinds of wildlife. The wildlife that'll kill you, and the wildlife that ignore you. This big thing, obviously, is a wildlife that it will ignore you. Don't have to worry too much about that, unless you're fussed about it getting stuck on your factory. Alright, the other kind of wildlife will kill you. And you start off with just a very basic weapon called a Xeno Zapper. It takes a little bit to get to the next stage, which is Xeno Basher. Xeno Basher is great. Xeno Zapper, it'll do. Combat in this game is not super common, but it's something you do need to be concerned about in the overworld. And it's not... This ain't no FPS. This ain't... It's not. It's a little clunky. I think that's intentional. It's not supposed to be a combat game. It's just supposed to provide you with a sort of limiter that keeps you from just jumping and running out and exploring other parts of the world really quickly, because you'll just die. Anyway, the forested area that I start off with in my other game, always keep in mind that you're going to run out of biofuel fairly quickly, or biomass. So, at this early stage, you know, pick it up. In the forested area, the grassy area I started out with in my other game, most of it are the kind of like armadillo things that will run smack it and headbutt you. And then they will run around in circles really quickly. I find them very difficult. These things are annoying, but they don't have much health. And they're real easy to see. The others can be a little bit hard to see. So this is going to explode into some bee things and promptly attack me. Ah! Hey, I know. These are the most basic enemies, and I lost almost half my health. So I'm a genius at this. So why did we come over here? Well, I'm going to illustrate this. I came over here to show you the bad guys, but just to sort of illustrate why. So I showed you this wheel before. This has copper ore, iron, limestone. These are the things you can scan for. And you have a little scanner, a little scanner, and it can scan for these 3 basic things. As you move up in tech level, you'll be able to scan for more things. Copper is sort of the next one I think I want to get. And it will go looking for it. So, copper is right here where we were. As I said, I sort of did a little recon of the area before I started this thing. Again, we got to break this down in order to do it. There we go. These are always pure, even if they're not on a pure node. Just FYI. Okay, so now we need to get this copper out of the ground. We know how to do that, of course. We need to build another miner. And we've got the stuff, so we don't have to worry about it. This one, placement, I'm going to point this towards my others. You'll see why in a moment. And there we go. This starting location has the resources fairly close together, surprisingly enough. But in some parts of the map where you've started, you could be going up over a big, up on top of a giant rock before you find copper. And so it can be a ways. We're lucky here in that we have a normal node and it's pretty close. Now, in order to get this over to over to the factory, of course, we need to put we're going to need to put conveyor belts. I forgot the name already again. So, let's go conveyor belts. We need metal plates for that. So we can do that. That's just for the basic conveyor belt. And then when it adds a pole, you're going to need concrete and iron bars. These can be fairly long. It's very generous with the length. Very nice in that regard. It can also clip through a lot of things. See, I can put this all the way here. It'll clip through that ground. I don't want to, but it will. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go put that pointing there. There we go. Place it. And then we're going to place another one, and that gets us close. So you see, eventually it will tell you the conveyor belt is too long, or it may tell you, we've ran out of materials. All right, so we've got that there. Let's go ahead and top off our materials here. Now we want to smelt that copper. We could do it all right there if we want. I kind of like to keep my smelters close and just move my resources. That's the way I like it. And for now, again, placement, don't worry about it too much. Take my smelter. I'm going to... Let's go right here. I know, I'm fussing over what I said don't fuss over. I just wanted to show you that, as I said before, you can place it. It won't be floating. It'll place those legs in the ground so it doesn't look ridiculous. Put our... Oh, wrong button. There we go. Conveyor. There we go. Alright. So, that's power, or that's hooked up to a conveyor belt. These conveyor belts can go across the entire map if you want. It's a slow way to do things. It costs a lot of resources, but you end up doing it. You will. Let's look here, power consumption. So right now, 8 of 20. Check how much we've got here. Actually, that's not going through it too badly. We've got another 200. So I'm going to put it in here. And slap that on there. And then hook that to here, because each one has its own separate connection, remember. So now I have got a boatload of extra power in the system. I am not going to be hitting that peak right away. We need to get that power, however, to the copper extractor. Let's see here. Yeah. Power line from you. Power line can be pretty darn long too. And they will clip through things, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Let's see. No, that's good. Hook that to there, and then we'll keep on going with the power line. Now, power lines take cable to make, and copper wire and all that. I never noticed this before, but it costs the same to place a power line no matter how long it is. But, okay, that's cool. And then we're going to hook that up to here. Boom. Alright, so this is going to automatically start pulling copper out of the ground, sending it by conveyor belt over to our smelter. We're going to need to set this to make copper ingots. And we won't make the same error there. And then we want a constructor. Hook that up. Boom. Power. And then hook that to this. There we go. That's powered. And then the first thing we want this to make us, probably... that's a good question. I don't know yet. I think wire. I think we want it to make wire first. Let's see here. So it's getting there. It's going to do its thing. And we can leave that and forget about it. So one thing you can see here, the iron coming out of the ground, it stops. It can pull iron out of the ground way faster than this can make into ingots, and so you will get backup. These things are good for buffering backup, but you'll even get that with these because it takes a little bit of time to make these iron plates. We'll need to do some storage here. Now, yeah, so I overbuild on storage quite a bit. I just find it helps alleviate mistakes when I realize I've taken something apart that I don't want, that I need, and it helps to know that I have a giant box of stuff laying around that I can use. Oh, not a power line. Alright. Okay, so that's gonna make wire for now. Next thing we want to build. Well, alright. The next thing we need, so we're making a bunch of plates, and we're going to make a bunch of rods. I'm actually just going to switch that eventually to rods. You could have a separate one. Oh, as a matter of fact, let's go for it. Alright, let's set up a separate... Wait, I don't think I can make logistics. Oh, no, I can't split things off yet. So, this is making I guess this is making plates until I'm done making plates, and then I'll have to do rods. The next thing, in order to get some more basic organization things, some more plans, we need to send off resources into space. In order to do that, we need to get concrete. Concrete is made from limestone, so we'll look for limestone. 142 meters. I think that's our closest one. Okay, 142 meters this way. So the enemies in this game, most of them are just are fine if you're anyway decent at combat in games. But there are things that are a real pain in the rear. One of those just lines here. One of those are spiders, but they only come out at night. So if you don't want to encounter spiders, don't go near cliffs or caves at night. Okay, I totally lost where that is now. $180 that. Wait, did I? Oh, no. I didn't do limestone, that's why. There we go. It's right here. 83. Okay, so there's our limestone deposit. It has some bees next to it. We'll go take care of those. There is fall damage in this game, but it's you have to fall from a pretty decent height in order to do it. Oh, first, before I do that, I'm going to go into my inventory here, and these things, there's two things that I found in the game that can heal you, that you find around in the world. These nuts, which don't heal you that well, but they're more plentiful. And then there's little things called pale berries that look like giant raspberries. And those can heal you much more. So that got us all back up. There is no auto regeneration, there's no sleeping or anything like that. You either eat, or later in the game there are some healing items you can make. Oh! This is a doggo. It's actually a lizard doggo. And it's not going to attack you. You can tame it and make it your pet, and it will follow you around. It doesn't really do anything, but it follows you around, and that's adorable. Die! And you can just... Oh! You got around me. Ah! Come on! This thing sucks so badly. If you could trap them up against like a surface to limit their mobility, you should be okay. So that could have been done better. This Xeno Zapper has very limited reach, so it's harder to do. Alright, here we go. Limestone. This is a normal. Wow, the place I started in before sucked. I mean, in that everything around it was impure. I didn't even know to look for that sort of thing when I started the game. Huh. Keep going. Alright. There we go. We got our limestone node, and we're going to set up a limestone factory. But we'll do that next time. That's certainly enough for now. As we go off into this beautiful purple night, that is going to do it. Next time we'll set up more of the concrete and get going. But until then, y'all just keep on having fun, keep on exploring, and watch out for lizard doggos, because they're adorable. Later.